when the zombie virus becomes a reality, will people react the same way as this man? Shaun, as usual, stepped out of his house without noticing that the city had already changed. Empty streets with a few zombies roaming about, but he remained oblivious. People hurriedly brushed past him, but Shaun paid no attention. All he wanted to do was buy a bottle of his favorite drink at the convenience store. Doesn't the bloody handprint on the fridge catch his eye? Shaun is undeniably a focused man. While checking out, he didn't even notice the zombified store owner standing right behind him. On his way home, he narrowly avoided colliding with a zombie but mistook it for a homeless person.
I didn't even have enough at the fucking shop.
Shaun's lack of respect for the zombies is somewhat evident. However, he made it back home unscathed. Enjoying his hard-earned soda, Ed informed Shaun about a beautiful girl in their backyard. Instantly piquing his interest, the two men headed to the backyard, but the girl showed no response.
Excuse me?
Ed threw a stone at her, only to be stunned by her striking beauty when she turned around. Even a discerning person could tell that something was off about her.
She's so drunk.
Despite the imminent threat of the approaching zombies, Shaun and Ed continued to joke around. It wasn't until Shaun got tackled by the girl that Ed finally reacted. However, instead of a weapon, Ed grabbed a camera. Shaun was not accustomed to such forward women, so he urged Ed to pull her away, but Shaun just got up and the girl pounced on him again. Shaun pushed her away, indicating that he wasn't interested in casual encounters. Unexpectedly, this resulted in a fatality. But what was even more surprising was that the girl stood up unharmed. The slow-witted brothers finally realized that something was wrong and hurried back into the house. They tried to make phone calls but couldn't reach anyone. An emergency news broadcast on television warned that the zombie virus is spreading rapidly throughout the city and advises everyone to stay indoors and close doors and windows. Clearly, they were not accustomed to closing their doors. As expected, zombies invaded their home, causing the two men to scream in terror. They frantically grabbed any items they could find on the table and threw them at the zombies. It wasn't until Ed touched an ashtray that he tackled the zombies by mistake, as the news mentioned that only headshots could permanently kill the zombies. Shaun and Ed had the idea to test it on the two zombies in their backyard. They did it the right way, but they used a bunch of random objects and attacked the zombies with them, as if giving them a massage. Having emptied the basket of all its contents, Ed threw out a vinyl record which worked surprisingly well. Encouraged by this, the brothers brought out a whole box of them, but they soon realized that their accuracy was not very high. In the end, they opted for simple and brutal weapons. Back inside the house, the TV broadcasted that being bitten would lead to infection. It was then that the two remembered they had a roommate upstairs. Upon checking, they discovered that the roommate had already turned into a zombie. Shaun locked him inside and received a phone call from his mother. Initially worried, thinking his mother had been bitten, Shaun's mood instantly improved when he found out it was his stepfather who got bitten. Shaun feared his infected stepfather might harm his mother, so he devised a thorough plan. First, eliminate the stepfather, then rescue his mother, and finally, take his ex-girlfriend Liz with them and head to the pub for a carefree time. With everything prepared, the two brothers set off. However, as they rushed out of the front door, they were met with a basketball hitting them in the face, a small zombie. Although it was not a significant problem, when they turned around, they saw a horde of zombies already approaching eagerly. Startled, the brothers quickly got into the car, closed the doors, and sped away. The streets were a chaotic scene, with people who had died desperately struggling to move. They soon reached their destination, but Ed suddenly changed his mind at a critical moment.
Why don't I stay here?
Helpless, Shaun had no choice but to go alone. In the house, Shaun finds his mother unharmed and his stepfather sitting in the living room. Eager to send his stepfather away, Shaun is surprised to see that his stepfather is still awake, which scares him. In consideration of his mother's feelings, Shaun had to take his stepfather with them. Just as they were about to get in the car, several zombies appeared, and his stepfather got bitten once again. Shaun rushes to the rescue. After killing a zombie, the group gets in the car and leaves quickly. Following the plan, Shaun arrived at Liz's house, only to find her two roommates there. The plan was disrupted once again, but at this point, Shaun had become remarkably brave. Shaun leads them through a horde of zombies towards the planned bar. A group of people squeezed into the cramped car, arguing incessantly about going to the pub, unaware of the impending mutation of Shaun's stepfather. Before losing consciousness, the stepfather revealed his true feelings to Shaun. He had always wanted to be a good father, but his inability to express himself had caused misunderstandings between them. The words left Shaun with mixed feelings. but his stepfather was unable to respond. Seeing his stepfather turning into a zombie, the group swiftly got out of the car and locked him inside. Not only did they lose the vehicle, but the surroundings were also filled with zombies. Fortunately, the zombies moved slowly, with still a distance to go before reaching the pub. They had no choice but to take a detour through a narrow path. At an intersection, they encountered another group of survivors. They both happened to know each other, and after a brief conversation, each set off in the opposite direction. They only have to climb over a wall to reach the tavern. However, at that moment, Shaun suddenly realized that his mother was missing. Upon hearing his mother's voice, Shaun jumped over the wall and landed gracefully, only to find his mother lying on the ground, and something seems to have run out of the house next to it. Companion over here is worried. Suddenly the fence collapses. Shaun is attacked by zombies. They were startled. Liz grabs a bench and comes to the rescue. Shaun finally gets out of the way. Diane tossed a steel pipe to Shaun. Under the guidance of the two women, Shaun firmly impaled the zombie onto a tree, ending the crisis. Shaun climbed up the ladder to see what was going on outside the bar, but as far as the eye could see, the bar was surrounded by zombies. It seemed nearly impossible to reach the pub safely. Just when everyone was at a loss, the zombie in the tree suddenly moved. Shaun came up with a brilliant idea. As the scene shifts, a few strange things mimic the movements of the zombies and try to blend into the bar. As clumsy as they were, it did work and none of the zombies seemed to notice. They successfully made it to the entrance of the pub. However, no matter how loudly Shaun called out, there was no response from inside. The sound of their voices attracted the attention of nearby zombies. At this moment of crisis, Ed's mobile phone suddenly rang. To everyone's disbelief, Ed casually answered the call as if nothing was happening. Shaun was outraged by such a pig of a teammate. Shaun slapped Ed's phone away with his hand and shouted at him. This roar managed to attract the attention of all the zombies. In a state of panic, David broke a window and attempted to climb inside. Although it was a crude and straightforward approach, the zombies would undoubtedly follow him inside. This was certainly not going to work. Shaun stepped forward and stood tall, shouting out to draw all the zombies away. They waited for a long time, but Shaun did not return. David suggested blocking all the doors and windows and tried to replace Shaun in the leader's seat, but it was felt that they had to wait for Shaun's return before making any decisions. David, enraged, got into an argument with the others. Just then, Shaun reappeared, having successfully evaded the zombies and entered through the back door. They continued to drink and chat until nightfall. As the streetlights suddenly turned on, Shaun suggested turning on the power so they could watch television. Shaun walked to the storage room and turned on the power. He also turned on the light at the back door and found it full of zombies outside. The zombies had followed them. Shaun quickly informed everyone, but Ed was already engrossed in the game. They urgently tried to stop him, but it was too late. The loud noise from the game attracted all the zombies towards them. In the midst of the chaos, a zombie suddenly emerged, just as everyone was in a state of shock. The speakers inexplicably started playing music. This worsened their situation. Shaun ordered David to turn off the speakers while the rest of them tried to hold off the zombies. However, at the critical moment, David proved to be unreliable. David frantically pushed the button, and not only did he not turn off the music, he inadvertently attracted more zombies. Seeing the window about to break, the crowd prepares to fight the zombies. However, at that moment, Shaun's mother started to exhibit strange behavior. It turned out she had been bitten earlier. David immediately tried to remove the safety hazard, but Shaun refused and threatened David with a bottle of wine. The two of them argued while Shaun's mother mutated behind them. Shaun had no choice but to kill his mother. The crowd is silent in sorrow. However, David made sarcastic remarks, provoking Shaun's anger. In a fit of rage, Shaun punched David near the window, clamoring to leave. The next second, zombie broke through the window and dragged David out. The group tried to save him, but it was too late. Seeing her boyfriend die in front of her, Diane opens the door to her room and takes David's long legs to fight the zombies to the death. Soon, Diane is overwhelmed by the swarm of zombies pouring into the bar. The zombies started to invade the pub, and Ed was also unfortunate enough to be bitten. Shaun and Liz jumped into the bar counter, with Ed following suit. Shaun poured alcohol on the counter and set it on fire, temporarily halting the zombies' attack. However, it was only a matter of time before the zombies broke through. Luckily, Ed, a regular at the pub, knew about a hidden room that led to the outside. The trio arrive at the secret room. Ed chooses to stay behind so as not to drag Shaun and Liz down. The zombies are about to break into the house and Shaun and Liz have no choice but to leave. But when they came outside, they found even more desperation. The place was also full of zombies. As Shaun and Lizzie prepare to fight the zombies to the death, a truck suddenly bursts out. A military rescue unit. With their powerful firepower, the zombies were quickly eliminated. Shaun and Liz were successfully rescued. 2.5 months later, the zombie crisis was mostly under control. The zombies that are not destroyed are also put to good use, not only to help humans with simple tasks but also to entertain the public with variety shows. Ed, who had turned into a zombie, was brought back to the basement by Shaun. The two of them have lived a life of shame ever since.